Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale was instrumental in changing the role and the perception of the nursing profession. And her dedicated work won widespread admiration, and it also led to a significant improvement in the treatment of wounded soldiers. Her father played a significant role in her education because through her father she actually learned the basics of everything from mathematics to philosophy to Shakespearean literature. Nursing didn't really garner much respect back in 1837, and generally it was associated with a low social status and lousy wages. Also forced many women who entered the field to do a bit of prostitution on the side. So when 16-year-old Nightingale announced that she felt called to become a nurse, evidently her parents weren't thrilled. In late 1854, Nightingale received a letter from Secretary of War Sidney Herbert, and he was asking her to organize a corps of nurses to tend to the sick and fallen soldiers in the Crimea. And he then gave her permission to round up 38 volunteers and to treat the wounded at a field hospital in Scutari. Sanitary wasn't the facility's strong suit. Rats used to scamper through the hallways, and clean linens were a very rare commodity. And actually, more were dying from infectious diseases like typhoid and cholera than from injuries incurred in battle. 42.7% of all the admitted patients died in February 1855, and Florence then started to question the way they treated the soldiers. She figured and started to realize that perhaps there was some kind of link between the poor sanitation and that high mortality rate. She then soon implemented strict hygiene rules that whittled the number down to 2% by June. So that is actually a major improvement. Nightingale then remained at the hospital in Scutari for a year and a half. She left in 1856 once the Crimean conflict was resolved, and she then returned to her childhood home at Lierst, and to her surprise, she was actually met with a hero's welcome, which the humble nurse did her best to avoid. And the previous year, Queen Victoria had rewarded Nightingale's work by presenting her with an engraved brooch that actually came to be known as the Nightingale Jewel, and then by granting her a prize of $250,000 from the British government. Nightingale then decided to use the money to further her cause, and in 1860 she funded the establishment of St. Thomas's Hospital, and within it, the Nightingale Training School for Nurses. She educated America's first trained nurse, Linda Richards. And nurses play a really, really big role in this society. So imagine if Florence hadn't done the discoveries she did about sanitation. What would that have meant for our society today? And so I admire that she wanted to make a big difference, and that she didn't just bow under and turn her cheek away. She really did care about people and really wanted to do better. And so I admire her big heart and I also admire that Florence chose to give the money she received to a good cause instead of using it for herself.